Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Wells. You're a veteran, and we thank you for your service. You went on record saying that you know what sacrifice is on Fox News. Do you believe that calling for the overthrow of a democratically elected government or funding movements that speak to that is part of the freedoms that you fought for?
No, I don't believe that.
The convoy and protesters spoke to publicly the desire to commit violence against the government, to overthrow the government. Would your platform, having seen all of these things in the public domain, not have caught this as part of your prohibited activities and terms of use?
Well, in our course of research around the campaigns, that was not something that we were aware of. And obviously, there's always fringe elements to any organization, and the media, I believe, in general, just tries to polarize the fringe things because it's great for media. But it doesn't necessarily constitute the general. Yeah.
You say that you believe that the media polarizes. Do you believe that it was polarization when the City of Ottawa was shut down and there were a variety of laws, statutes, regulations, and ordinances of the City of Ottawa, as well as federal ones, that were violated, which fall again counter to your terms of use? And that, by the way, would have only required you to turn on the television?
Well, you can say that. I don't necessarily agree with that. So, do
you believe it was lawful protest, what happened in Ottawa?
From what I've seen, I believe it was lawful up to the point where orders were enacted to make it unlawful. But
so you believe that violating sound ordinances or traffic violations, blocking off entire streets outside the capital, is perfectly lawful or perfectly reasonable, even though it's considered unlawful?
Well, I don't necessarily know that those things happened. And so
you don't know that those things happened. Did you turn on the television and see anything about this campaign, sir, when you became part of the media narrative? Even Fox News.
Well, I do need to make a distinction. The blockade over the bridges had nothing to do with the campaigns on GiveSendGo. They weren't campaigns on GiveSendGo for those blockades. What happened in Ottawa, from what I was getting reports of on the ground, was that truckers did move into the city and that lanes of traffic were open and available for emergency vehicles and other vehicles to travel through, and that it was the police.
Were you aware that horns were blaring through the night in violation of a variety of ordinances?
I did hear reports of horns blaring and that an injunction was made against that, and they stopped.
You knew that the law was being broken in a variety of different ways in Ottawa. And your platform says that GiveSendGo is not a place for hatred, abuse, disrespect, profanity, meanness, harassment, or spam. And you knew that there were reports of people documented on video of supporters of this convoy spewing hate, threatening violence, inciting people to rebel against the government and against the citizens of Ottawa. Would your platform not have reasonably shut that down?
Okay, I'll reiterate, GiveSendGo does not condone violence of any form. We believe there's more power in the unity of peaceful protests. As in any polarized situation, we recognize there will be a few individuals and groups that might intentionally try to incite violence and hijack a movement.
So how many is okay? How many is okay then? How many bad apples is okay in a bunch?
No, I think that we already have processes in place with law enforcement to take care of bad actors that are actually committing acts of violence.
And how did you do that in this case? How did you do that in this case, where you saw that there were when there was hateful speech, when there were people that were speaking about overthrowing the government, inciting violence? Did you shut those funds down? Did you prevent them from accessing the funds?
Again, the Canadian government did not reach out to us.
I'm asking about your terms of use, sir. The terms of use on your side.
Mr. Chair, point of order. I think that the line of questioning, it's all very important that we're very passionate about this, but I do think it's getting a bit abusive. I would just ask the member to take a breath, ask his questions, but I think this is getting a little bit too much. It's bordering on abusive at this point. So I just ask him to take a breath.
Thank you.
Okay, and now you can resume.
The breath has been taken. Now let me ask you again. Your site explicitly says that prohibited activities and campaigns, you may not use the GiveSendGo service for activities that violate any law, statute, ordinance, or regulation in particular related to items that encourage, promote, facilitate, or instruct others to engage in illegal activity, promote hate, violence, racial intolerance, or the financial exploitation of a crime. This is a pretty broad set of parameters, sir. Is this on the basis of statute that is created by law or the discretion of GiveSendGo?
Well, there's discretion around campaigns as people previously have mentioned. This was an ongoing situation, a situation that was evolving quite rapidly. And so there is discretion within GiveSendGo to understand and make determinations upon whether those things are actually happening in conjunction with local law enforcement or federal officials, of which none of them took the time to actually reach out to us and make us aware of those things.
Well, having now seen what you have seen, knowing what you now know, would you have allowed this type of funder to have taken place again? Or would you allow this to take place again?
10
Great
seconds,
question.
10
So-
seconds in your answer, please.
Yeah, it's something that we take on a case-by-case basis. We have to navigate each one of these individually. And the campaign itself was a distinct group of individuals. So
Thank you very much.